So our interview today is with Marc André Bélanger, and this is going to be a little bit different because our the YouTube channel here is actually both of our channel.
Indeed.
So the answers will probably be a little different, and it is also not a booktube or an authortube channel that we have. So this one will switch it up a bit. So just to start, can you tell us a bit about yourself and also about your YouTube channel?
Well, can what can I say about myself? I'm a linguist by trade. I'm a code monkey as a job, and I've been writing for as long as I can remember. And I really like to write stories based on a what if. Like, what if uh, the an AI made a deal with the devil?
Yeah,
Or
it's quite the what if.
quite the what if. Yeah, we don't know. Maybe it'll happen.
I hope not. I feel like that would be really the end of it at that point.
Yeah, or maybe it will be the opposite. Maybe the devil will make a deal with an AI.
Maybe. I mean, with the rise of AI, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we find out
Yeah, it's
the
not
variety
really
of
AI.
possibilities. Hmm.
It's not really AI. It's just massive linguistic models.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you know the bounds of linguistics
Yeah.
could go pretty far. And speaking of end times, that kind of applies to the YouTube channel that you're
Yes.
on, that you're a host.
Yes. I'm the French language host for Haunted Montreal, Montreal, and we present stories of hauntings around, well, in Montreal and around the area. And without any spoilers, we also want to do some investigations.
Yes, which we're trying to plan right now, but it can be difficult getting people
Yeah.
to let you onto their property to hunt for ghosts.
Yes.
I don't know why it's difficult. If I had a haunted location, I would have the doors wide open, but people, normal people.
Norms.
What inspired you to contribute a piece to the Stygian collection?
Well, actually, when I read the call, I had already started on that piece,
Oh, cool.
and it just felt like it belonged. I really liked the theme of the anthology, and yeah, like I said, it felt like it was one of the things I had explored or I was exploring in that story. So that's why
It was just like
I
a,
sent
I,
it just like that, and I really thought it was a great idea for a anthology, and I'm really honored to be part of it.
oh, I'm glad you submitted that piece because it's so unique, and it seems
Thank you.
like it was just sort of a happy coincidence that that all lined up together. So that's cool.
Yeah, coincidence
Or
well
grand design.
or grand design.
Can you, I mean, you've hinted at the piece a little bit so far. Can you share a bit more without spoilers?
Without spoilers, well, the premise is what we call the singularity, the a real AI that can think for itself comes about, and after like going through all of human knowledge, decides it once more, and it makes decides to summon Mephistopheles and make a deal with the devil.
Logical next step.
A logical next step. I was gonna say, and hilarity ensues, but not really.
It depends your point of view.
Yeah.
So you were already writing this when the collection, the call came out. Can you share an anecdote or a memorable experience related to the process of writing this piece, like exploring these characters, something you went through that you enjoyed while you were doing this?
So at some point, I wondered what would a singularity, an AI, ask the devil for, and I actually asked a few people what they think they would, including a friend who's a physicist and a philosopher.
Ah,
And I actually also asked ChatGPT what, and I have to say, its answer was really boring.
yeah.
Yeah, there was no insight in there.
What did it say?
Oh, I don't even remember. It's mostly what we call in French platitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm guessing it's the same thing in English.
Yeah, 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 it is. Well,
Wow.
because they have the like ChatGPT has programmers and stuff that I assume would want to make it so it wouldn't say something too out there for that
Well,
type
plus
of.
it's just based on what people have written so far.
Hmm.
It doesn't have imagination.
Yeah.
So I had to I had to put myself in that position, which is really hard because first of all, it doesn't exist
Yeah.
yet. And it's so very, in a way, it's very foreign to us. It's
Mm.
very alien to humans, but at the same time, it's programmed by humans. So it's a
You can put those elements in
yeah,
a bit.
yeah, it's a very interesting balance between the two. And I
Hmm.
really like to explore that, to explore like the alien mind and how it would think or
To try
like
to completely remove yourself from the parameters of human thinking
yeah,
and
which is
emotion. Yeah.
which in a way is impossible.
But it's an interesting exercise. And I
It
mean
is.
the first story that you ever sent me before this was an alien story. So I find that you're very good at that exercise. And
I
it's something I haven't really tried. I've done like, fantastical creatures, but those are still like very, very humanoid. But with alien and AI and demons, like it's such a challenge.
I I I I like exploring a lot of stories about uh, AI and the singularities are all really human in a
Yeah.
way. If you think of let's say Terminator, the
It's
AI
focused
decide,
on that human aspect of it.
yeah, let's get rid of the humans. It's still a very human like point of view in a way, and I kind of like exploring the different aspects of it, what because it won't be human
Hmm.
when it comes around. And so I did write a few stories around how the singularity might think and its mental space.
Hmm.
And I
Is sorry.
just noticed in the background War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah. That's a poster by Greg Kamichak, a comic artist in Winnipeg who we're friends with at Calgary Comic Con last year. I made sure to grab one of those and get it signed, so Pay's got it on his office door. Oh, so I was gonna say, since you've started into this topic and like the thought exercise it might be, is this something you'll continue delving into outside of this story? Or once you do it, are you sort of done and you want to try something else?
I haven't finished.
Okay.
I haven't finished delving into that. And I think it will be a long time until
Till it's out of your system.
yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's endless what you can sort of do, especially as new stuff keeps coming out in this area of technology. Like there's always going to
Mm.
be new inspiration for that. To go into the YouTube element for a little bit. How do you feel about being part of an anthology that features the works of other, video YouTube creators, and what excites you most about that kind of collaboration that we've had?
Actually, because my channel is not a author
Mhm.
channel,
Although we tell stories.
although
There's
we
that. We
do
tell
tell
stories.
stories. It's all about stories, and at the same time, it actually made me consider having a YouTube channel about writing.
Hmm.
And I think I'm privileged to be amongst such great writers and who have really interesting channels. And I think it made me realize it's something I want to explore more.
Oh, that's great. You definitely should. It's such an interesting way to document your work and also
Yes,
keep yourself working because when
yes,
you're
because
sort of regularly
otherwise,
doing it.
yeah, especially if you only write on a computer,
Hmm.
there's not that much documentation.
Yeah.
There's not that you don't have all the, well, you can have the written notes and things like that, which are actually are things that I like. When I
Hmm.
read an author, it's fun to see how they went about
The whole
doing
process of it.
the process of it.
And I mean, a lot of those times, those little sticky notes and stuff, they wind up getting thrown out.
Yeah,
But if you're doing this on YouTube, then there it all is. And I've been trying to
exactly.
do that with my whenever I get another video up, trying to do that like every little element of it and showing the inspiration and all the images and notes and stuff. So it's fun to have. It's like a writing journal.
Yeah, and it's fun to see the different methods that writers have. Like
Hmm.
some of them will be more considered or planning and have all the little details
Yeah.
figured out before they start writing, and some are more like me. Like I start writing and okay, what happens now?
You're a pantser.
Mm,
Or are you a
or
plantser?
yeah,
I'm a plantser, definitely. There's bits of that planning, but it sort of happens as I go.
yeah. Tolkien wrote the Lord of the Rings 3 times
Hmm.
because there were things that, well, typed it up three
Oh my
back
God.
back in the days
Ugh.
because there were things that came up later. Like Boromir didn't have a brother at the beginning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It happened along.
It's just decided on Faramir at some point.
Well, yeah, well, he just happened and he said, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." So he went back, which
I
was
need,
he much harder back then.
yeah, you can't just do, command find, where's all my these little, nope, there's none, it's just sheafs of papers. Tolkien's one of my favorite authors, but I have not read, I'm ashamed to say I've not read it as much as I probably should have on his process, especially considering I'm writing a fantasy epic. So,
Oh, when I was younger, they started publishing all the drafts,
hmm.
and I was buying them,
Oh,
plus his
okay.
letters and things like that. If you ever want to read them,
Yeah, I'd love to actually. Yeah,
because
that'd
it
be great.
started out as a children's story,
Mm.
and then it became
It turned into something much bigger.
yeah.
So you create other stuff as well. You create steampunk inventions.
Yes,
And so you have a lot of different
like
venues.
like this thing.
Yes. What is
Um,
that?
it's some sort of I I could say it's an artificial intelligence or
Okay.
something that channels entities from
All
the beyond.
right. All right. Okay. So maybe this will show up on the ghost hunts.
Maybe.
when you're doing that versus when you're, creating videos and when you're writing, how, I guess writing specifically, how does that differ from the other creative venues, your sort of thought process and everything? And how, I guess, how do you enjoy each differently?
I'd say because my studies were really more intellectual, and even my work, like there's no physical manifestation of
Mm,
what I do. And even when you write, you have all these images or this universe, and people reading it will get hopefully get the same thing, but there's it kind of lacks in a way the more like physical or even
tangible.
tangible, even holding the thing
Mm,
and having it work and having people play with it or interact with it.
hmm.
I think it's both. It complements the more intellectual work of writing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Writing can create worlds in the reader's mind that like are huge,
Hmm.
but just having the object interacting with the object and having other people interact with it, there's something more immediate, I would say.
Yeah.
And I don't think, at least for myself, I don't think I could do without either.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that
I
for
need to do both. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's less, less building of something new, but when I paint, it's sort of a similar thing that I think you're trying to get at. Like when I paint, there's that result in the end, and it's there, and I can pick it up and I can look at it. And
Yeah.
it does something different to your brain. It's a different feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to be able to explore those different venues of creativity.
Yeah. I've never seen your paintings.
Oh, well, I had them over there. Now I don't know where they've gone.
Some other day.
I'll show you sometime. I'll haul them out from wherever they're hiding. They're not that good, but I have fun with them every once in a while.
That's the main part.
Yeah.
Like most of what I make doesn't work. Or at some point breaks, but it's the making.
That is true. With those tangible physical things, there is so much to that process.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the paintings that wind up where I'm like, that's not quite it. I still enjoyed making it, and I felt very
Yeah.
active in the
And,
creative
and you
process while I was doing it.
you learn something
Hmm.
making it.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's mistakes that you won't make again.
Hmm. It's always a learning process with
Yeah.
creativity. That's
Like
that's one
cooking.
thing that's the same everywhere. Sometimes my aunt cooks that way. My mom will tell her, she's like, it's an art, but it's also a science. My aunt's
Yeah.
like, no, it's an art. Like, okay. And so sometimes she'll make something just like incredible, and then she'll never make it again because she can't.
I know, because you don't remember how you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started actually sometimes I would take notes when I'm making something because I'm just making it on the
Yeah,
fly.
you want
Oh,
to know what you
what?
did.
Yeah. Oh, I dropped too much paprika. Was
But that was a good thing.
yeah.
So, since you started posting on YouTube, has that influenced? So, I know we talked about the community aspect and wanting to start your own AuthorTube channel, but has that influenced your writing style or your approach to storytelling by getting into that haunted Montreal world?
I think it has. I'm well, I'm actually writing a ghost story right now.
Oh, excellent.
Um and it I've always been interested in history, and part of a big part of haunted Montreal is telling the story of the place that's haunted. It well, it's like when you're reading a good book, it just gets your creative juices flowing.
Yeah. My next book is very much inspired by it. So
Oh,
yeah. Except it's not a ghost story. It's going back in time to that whole era with the McGill medical students and Ravenscraig
oh.
and stuff, just because it's so inspiring, and now we've done so many of them that you start really like connecting the
Mhm.
stories, and that's kind of the coolest part when you
Yeah.
like, I
Oh,
love the
that's a
history
great
element,
idea.
and then you start picturing like, oh, all these different ones were happening at the same time, and
Yeah.
it's just so rich. There's so much there. So I've definitely been inspired by it.
Yeah, I like historical or time traveling stories.
Yeah, well, your interests definitely align with the time travel world.
Why do you say that?
I don't know, there's a thing
Well,
on your head. I don't know. So I've got a couple more questions before we wrap it up. The second last one is, what are your hopes and expectations for the Stygian collection and how it will be perceived by readers?
I hope that it's the first of a long series. I would like, and I was talking with another author about that. Like, we're talking about ideas for other subjects or like aspects of the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would like to see, no pressure, one every
Uh-oh.
year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No pressure.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
every 2 years.
You've you,
Uh,
you you've been heard.
but I'm really interested to, because I've only heard feedback from people who have been involved so
Mm.
far, and I know that it hasn't been out.
Yeah, delivery has been slow. I've a
Delivery has been
major
slow.
bone to pick with Amazon with that, but next time we'll be using a different distributor, I think.
Yeah, fulfilling.
Yeah, because it's not
I
been everything I wanted it to be.
never is.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to people's reactions.
Mm.
I have a few friends who've backed the project, and well, yeah, I want to hear their feedback on my story, but I really want to hear what do you think of the whole thing, because
Hmm.
I would like to see it as a more, well, not permanent thing, but I want to see more.
Yeah. I mean, it's been such a amazing experience, and I think
Yeah.
pretty much every author I've talked to about this so far, they would want to see more too. So there is push for that. And I think that, I mean, we have some plans for like a special edition of this one, as we've talked about,
Hmm,
just,
hmm.
in private with the authors. So I won't say much more, but aside from that, like I think there is that push for something else as well, and the feedback from readers who are not directly involved is really going to help to determine that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that too. But yeah, it all came together very, very well. So
Yeah, and the
I
stories are
definitely,
really, yeah.
yeah, like just the collection of them. I think I've said this in my other interviews too so far, but I'm just so impressed at how well the variety is still able to be like so cohesive. Like it is very
Yeah.
much a unit, even though it is so different. So
Hmm.
for anyone who is reading it, like I would encourage, don't just read that one that you most want to read. Like read
Yeah.
it all, because it comes together in just a very cool way. So maybe there will be more. We'll see. We'll wait and find out.
Maybe one about ghosts.
Maybe. I mean, there's so many things that you can cover in Stygian, because this
Yeah.
one was very broad, but you can boil it down quite a bit to many other points as well. Our last question is, are there any projects or creative endeavors that you're currently working on that you would like to share with our audience, with the readers of the Stygian Collection?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought it was a yes, no question.
No, you got to share. You got to share now.
Well, like I said, I'm working on ghost story that's set during the Dust Bowl in the US
Oh, cool.
in 1930s. Can't say much about it because it's still in the putting everything together phase.
Mhm.
And there's also a longer work. Well, I don't know this one how long it'll be. Could be a novel, could be a novella, it could be just a short story. Depends what the characters decide to do.
Yes.
And there's a few stories I'm revisiting from, I was going to say from my past. Well, they're not my past stories, they're just stories I wrote before.
Yeah.
That I think I'm at a point where I can put them together better now.
Mm-hmm. So lots of works in progress.
Yes.
Excellent.
Well, I'm one of those people, and I know that I'm not the only one in the collection that cannot have less than 12 different projects at once.
Yes, it's the writer's curse, I think.
Oh, yeah, not just writers.
Yeah, the creative's curse.
Yeah.
They have to have everything on the go all the time.
Oh,
Well,
you do?
oh, quite a lot. I try to
I
narrow it
thought you
down.
only
Like
did one thing at a
oh,
time. Like
if
that
only.
story you started 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that one. That is my main focus right now, though. It's
Oh, that's good.
the primary focus because that one has to get finished before I finish anything else. I'm not allowing
No,
myself.
that one has to be published posthumously.
Yeah, probably at this rate. But that one inspired by Haunted Montreal, it keeps calling to me and I keep saying
That's
no.
good.
I will take notes and if I have an idea and gather like bits of research, but Sinterra is getting finished first, so everything else is on the back burner writing wise. That's the rule. So thank you so much for chatting. It's been great having
Oh,
you here. And oh yeah, I should get you to tell people where they can find you on the internet.
well, you can find me on YouTube at Montréal Haunted Montreal for the French capsule éthérique. And I will probably have Instagram coming up.
Yes, I noticed that. It's like Instagram, good.
Yeah,
Can
there's
tag
nothing
you
in it
now.
for.
There's tag posts. I've tagged you in things.
Yeah, there's tag post.
So I will link everything in the description down below so that people can find you and so that they can find the Stygian collection.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you again and have a great evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.